What's up, guys? I'm here, and I don't know, I haven't recorded one in a while, and I was actually going to start a Minecraft single-player series, but I was asked by a friend on my art forum, well, not my art forum, but the one that I used to frequent, but he wanted to get into signature making, and asked for a few tips. And, you know, I gave him a few links and everything, but I figured I'd make this as a special surprise, and also just release it on my channel. But this will be kind of a basics of signature making. I'm just going to go through and make a tag, but yeah, kind of show it off here and there. One second. Just got some coffee here. Yeah, so right here I've just got my resources kind of set up. I've got a few renders of mine that I made a while ago. These are when I had I don't remember, apotheosis or something like that. Makes 3D fractals, and then this is an old C4D of mine too. And then I just got the sprite. First thing I want to start off with is composition, because that's the most important, and where you place your render or sprite or whatever matters. Let's see, we will actually, the best way is just to get a new guide. Should have had this set up before. I'm trying to remember how to do this. Trying to set up the here. I think I can do it this way. New guide at 33%, maybe. Yep. I'm just going to set up a basic thing in art. It's called a rule of thirds. And you pretty much, I learned this in art class. You take your piece and divide it into thirds, both horizontally and vertically. Wait, I didn't do that right. 6%. Okay, both horizontally and vertically, and you're going to want your focuses to lie on these axes, or just around. So like I have just about the middle of this sitting right here on this spot, and then about here is his face, and then here again is the middles. So that's a very good spot. Maybe lower it a little bit more. Don't want to cut off its tail right there. Scoot it just a little bit, and that should work pretty well. The focus should be mainly around the face, which is in the center. That's one of the big no-nos, in my opinion, is placing your focus square in the center. But I still have a lot of this negative space. And that's pretty much it for composition, or as far as rule of thirds. It's just a good old art staple, and it's something to look up. And then past that, I already kind of have a basic color scheme set up. I'm just going to edit the colors of this a little bit, so I'm just going to go to image adjustments and select color. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to go to greens and let's see, give it more of a, actually, yeah, more of that. Drop the yellow a bit more. And so that'll match the colors of this, and then we have the yellows there. But you don't want to make it too matchy. So be around there will look really good. Okay, now we're just going to try to start constructing a background. Choose these, and get rid of the guides just for now to because I just used those to initially illustrate the point. Move this around a little bit. Just kind of create flow, which is another big thing. And another thing when you're even choosing your render or your sprite is you don't want something too stoic. Like, I was trying to pick a few here. This one is very, again, stoic. It just sits there. There's no natural movement to the picture, even though it is a picture. When you try to create flow, it's pretty easy to start with something with flow. Like this flows about that way, and it's just, you can build off of your render very easily if you pick a good one. Okay. Oh, and that got rid of my transform. Let's make it smaller again. Pop it up. Again, this is just going to be constructing a background. That's a good point. Just from this, you kind of get the flow upwards this way and slightly out here, but it's kind of, he's jumping upward. Alright, and I'm actually going to zoom in a little bit, and then we're just going to keep tossing this in more times and creating our background. And I might make a few cuts here or there for moments like so, when I'm just doing some menial work. Here, this one is a little non-conducive to the flow we're trying to create, so I'm just going to get rid of that. I'm actually going to probably make a solid color, probably draw from right around there. Okay. And then, okay, take this again, drag it over. I'll just hit that. Again, just throw it in a couple more times. Okay, I want that underneath that again. Wow, killing my computer. Make it a little smaller. Flip horizontal. So I want to add a little bit. Again, there's a little bit of flow out this way, so. Okay. Actually going to take this bit here, move it over. Oh, wait. Duplicate, take this one, and erase this. And take this one, so it'll be a little bit better. Transform, get kind of a little bit more variance. It's actually interesting because I made this render so long ago and I never really got to use it, but this one is a very good concept for it. I really liked it because it was kind of splashy and painterly. But so that's kind of a pretty good basic background. We're going to throw these in here for a little bit of variance. So on top, again, it gives it a different texture, kind of fills in some of this negative space, and especially with this globe bit right here, like that one right there, it's a great way to set your focus. just going to sharpen it probably a couple times, maybe not. Just because this one has so much sharpness. Erase a few bits here or there. With a soft brush, it's about right there. Okay. And maybe toss this one in here, underneath that. This one has more of the colors we want for background, or for the negative space. And maybe toss it underneath the rest. Zoom out. Why did I hit T? This is going to take forever because the text tool is starting to trying to load up. Oh. So yeah, it's just basic. I think I mentioned this in my other tutorial on smudging. You pretty much just go with what you like for art, and just use your own discerning eye to figure out what you want it to look like. Everyone has their own different style and their own different preference. And yeah, a shade. Oh. Okay. And yeah. Ooh, yes, right there. That is perfect. Maybe I'll throw it above that. And then this touches on one of the other big ones, which is depth. And the easiest way to ever create depth is to just put things in front of other things. It's really as simple as that. Like here I've got, you know, these fractals in front of the renders, and then he is in front of everything else. So obviously he is closer to the camera, and thus it creates depth. Simple. Focus on this, because that is not a good spot. Okay. So, yeah. That's what that did. It filled in the spot, and again, with these fractals, it created a nice aquatic theme, which is another one of the big points is theme. You don't have to always have to have a good concept or like full idea. This one just kind of happened as I was getting resources together for this tutorial, and just from the renders, like these from the abstracts I got together, I decided on this sprite to, again, make it very aquatic. This is just being slow. I want this kind of around there. Bump saturation. See, that looks beautiful. Okay, I'm going to maybe fill in some of a bit more of the background, and take this again, and this is just all the process. Never be satisfied until you feel like you're absolutely done. I still feel like I need to fill in some of this negative space a little bit, just over here. Oh wait, I put it behind the color fill. That's the problem. So I'm actually going to delete that there, because this is now our background. Oh, no. Okay. See, like, do maybe just a big one. There you this way, still leaving a little bit of negative space. And I'm just going to lower the saturation just to give it the effect that it's slightly further away from the camera, a little bit more in the haze in the background. Alright, so we have a good background made, and then the character itself is a middle ground. And to further create more depth, I'm going to add more and make a foreground. Which, if you've taken any sort of high school photo class or painting or any sort of art class, really, I learned most of this. The techniques I use and the rules I follow. Although it's art, so yeah, itchy nose. It's art, so there are no rules really, but there's certain standards that should be followed that will definitely help you. See, I didn't want to put that. And some of the basics are, sorry, one second, I just want to get this exactly right. See, and that splash is just perfect. Make it smaller still. I actually don't want to lose all the detail, and there's not too much of a sweep. So we do something like that. Perfect. Okay. And then here is another quick way to easily create depth. We're going to just take the hard brush and 100% get rid of this guy. Maybe. Or we could take this, transform it like so. Okay, that'll work. Okay, with this one, I'm going to take that. See, that's not going to work that well freeform, or with the cheaty. So we're going to have to come in here. Instead of eraser, we're going to do a layer mask, and then with a hard round black brush, just kind of outline his arm here. And then this will put, at least essentially, it'll put the abstract render behind his arm, which is another very easy way to create depth, like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take this and slightly change the hue. Maybe actually give it more of a yellow. Yeah, but then we get that little bit of red in there. Right there. Okay. I don't remember what I was talking about while I was trying to figure that out. I'm just going to clean up this edge. Nope, X. And layer mask pretty much works on, it's like black is the eraser and white redoes it. It unerases. Maybe get that fin in there because that's actually part of his arm too. But yeah. Sorry, detail work, focus. Yeah, so we were on depth break, which is what I'm creating. That was in white. Jeez. Okay. lost my train of thought. Okay. Oh. Yeah, that'll actually work. That looks pretty nice. Okay, where was I? Okay, so we're trying to create a foreground now, and it's working pretty well. It's not too busy yet. We'll try to throw some of these in here. Since we have such a busy background, we're gonna kind of skimp away on the foreground a little bit, and just add a few effects here or there. Like this one is very conducive to the current flow. And you also want to try to keep a good constant what's the word? Cohesiveness, I guess. The easiest way is to just use the same effects that you do in your background as your foreground, so it looks like a full scene. That's not good. Actually do pretty nicely, and if I just do the levels, brighten it up slightly. Okay. Drop it in again. And then you also, even though the whole character overall is the focus, you don't want to cover up especially something important like the face. That's a big no-no, because, well, I mean, it depends. If your main concept is to cover up the face, then yes, go ahead, but in general, it doesn't look that good. Right there. Enter, okay. Give it a little bit. We're going to clean it up because there were a few spots that I don't quite like. With a soft brush, about 50%. See, like, we have all this dirty bits right down there. Just don't quite look that good. Actually, this whole bit kind of messes with my colors. Okay. Now we could even try using some layer modes. Now, color dodge usually doesn't look that good, but that kind of works. Possibly if we were to scooch it over a little bit. Zoom out. See, that looks pretty nice. And I am kind of struggling here because I usually don't do these kind of ones with renders. See, I kind of want to move it over, but then that'll mess up my layer mask. Yep. So, yeah, I don't usually do these, to quote, traditional tags, where it's throw out C4Ds, add renders, etc. I've been trying to do like smudge tags recently, and pen tool a lot. That is my big thing, and I still promise I'll get a tutorial up eventually, but we're going to lower the opacity on this a little bit. Then we'll just toss this in once more. Again, keeping the cohesiveness of the whole piece. Drop it behind there. Transform it a little bit more. Maybe make it smaller. And then clean up. Opacity quite a lot this time actually, because I want to keep these waves here. Or at least what can be perceived as waves is the big thing, because that's the illusion I'm trying to create. Because the fractals are acting very well as bubbles, and these are kind of, you know, splashes of water. I think that'll work. And I'm kind of digging this. We're gonna go with something else. And this is another thing I almost never do is text. And actually the easiest way, I even, just naming my files, I like to just pick a good song name out of my library. So I'm actually looking at my laptop right now and trying to figure out something like that. Ooh, there's a really good one. Okay. Just pick out a good, simple enough font. And we're going to use the text to emphasize our focus. So the one I picked out was, let's see, I'm going to pull up our character window, get rid of that for sure. Probably, see, I don't know about this font anymore, because I just noticed it's a serif font, so, oh wait, no, it's not, okay. No. The song title I figured out was Got 'Em Hooked, which is perfect. We're going to go for this. Make this one smaller. And I like to, like, pretty much stick it square in the middle, about here. Actually, we'll see what the letters from the next one will be. Okay. And then OKD. Which I'm going to take this one and make it regular, like that. Take that one like that. So then we can make this a little bigger. And stick it in there. Like so. Which is a good basic technique for text. I'm just going to move this. Get it right in there. And then just try something different. And what would be a cool idea? Actually, scooch that over. Or just with D. Okay. And probably stick that right in there. Seems like a pretty good spot. Okay. And this is definitely not the best hack I've ever made. I'm still having a few doubts about it, just because this is kind of a newer, I've done the style before, but again, I don't do it too often, so all this feels kind of weird, and yeah. Here, just kind of wanted to fix this a little bit. Fade it slightly on this edge, like so. It'll look a little better. It's just looking a little too sharp for me. Alright, then might try just not too much black in this. Hello. And adjust the levels on this slightly. just get rid of that black. No, it's not going to be levels. It would be lightness a little bit. Just to make it so that black isn't so sharp. I'm going to go into levels. And that looks a little better. Hey, sorry, sidetracked. So we're on text. I think I might, because there's not too much white in here, so throwing white text in there wouldn't work too well. Let's go for sample color from there. Nope. A good color that'll stand out. There. Okay, and then just make it a brighter, vibrant. Nah, see, that's or blue. No, I'm not feeling it. It needs to be probably darker. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. And then we'll get this one. Change that to good light yellow, which kind of brings on another little rule that I like to follow, is to never use pure black and white. Like this one is just slightly tinted yellow, and this one's slightly tinted blue. Both dark and light, but not black and white. Oh yeah, what I was going to try is just take this. Wait, no. Ooh, that's. Oh, it's just a blending change. No. Possibly do a small little bit of filigree off the text. Good organic spot about there. Make sure these loops look good though. Okay, so that's another little tiny bit of pen tool. Too much influence on this one. Okay. No, let's not do that. Text is too solid and blocky. Okay, so we got the basics out and then text. So now we're just going to go through with the final changes. The easiest, the way I learned was through adjustment layers. But the cleanest way is just to do a Control All or Control A and then Control Shift C to copy all, and then Control Paste, which will copy the whole image onto another layer. And then just go to Adjustments. Well, first, get rid of your path. It'd be easier if I just had that tool. Go to Levels, and the cheapest way is just do Auto. See, that really made the colors pop and filled in our shadows a little better. And then we can just change it how we desire. See, that is friggin' beautiful. And then just kind of do it in an auto. No, that's not gonna do anything. Auto color maybe. No, I really like how that. Oh no, I like how that worked pretty well. That last fill. Okay, and then. Ooh, see, it brought in so many more colors when I did that. It's just, it feels like cheating, but it worked so well. Okay, and then, I usually just do like the autos, and then copy a new one, and then you can use your dodge tool and such, dodge and burn, kind of create your shadows, like so. And this is another technique to create depth, but I usually don't like using shadows for depth because it doesn't really fulfill the illusion for me, you could say. My favorite way is to just usually create a new layer, and instead of using the tools, just do a full sharpen to see what looks good. And then definitely erase around the edges. Let's see, we are at 50 opacity. Erase on the edges, because obviously take a good picture. The stuff that isn't at the focus of your camera will be blurry. So if you sharpen the rest, we're actually going to drop the opacity because that got a little messy. But if you just sharpen the rest and then and let the background stay blurry, then it creates that actual real life illusion that you would get in photography. But in this case, what did I hit? It's locked up again. But using sharpen and blur actually recreates that photographic illusion of depth, and it really brings the whole picture together. Wow. Legitimately locked up the entire program. Okay. And now it's going to not respond. Uh-oh. Oh, I hit P for print. Dang it. Or something along the lines of that. Okay, cancel, please. Just want to finish this. Cancel. Thank you. Okay. We're going to go up here to the blur tool, and this part right here is a little too, not that much. Usually about 50, nope, not even that. 20%? Yeah, that'll work. That was just a little too sharp. And then we can go around and blur things selectively like that, just to again create a little bit of random depth. Okay, and I think I'll call that it. I'll release the PSD of this. Possibly should blur a little bit of the text, so kind of nice. Because you never want to, or at least you shouldn't, just like create your whole tag and then slap your text on last. If you try to meld it in with the rest of the scene, it looks pretty good. But yeah, I'll upload the PSD and put a link in the description for it, and then, sorry, I have to sign it myself. Just do that. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm gonna put a link in the description for the PSD. No. And I just gotta do that because it's in his signature. I'll upload the PSD. I'll find a good space for it, and put a link for that in the description, and then so you guys can have a look at that, and then I'll try to do more of these in the future, depending on requests and such. And yeah. So anyway, I hope you guys learned a lot, and I'm sorry this wasn't fully scripted or anything, but I tried to do my best, and yeah. So, again, this is Suing. Thank you guys very much for watching. See you in another video, and bye.